Hi everyone, and welcome to Leslie Ray's Crafty Gig. My name is Leslie Ray, and tonight we are going to be playing with crochet.
Crochet! I need to use these.
I'm being joined by Sam,
Woo!
which always makes for a lively show. So I hope y'all are ready.
Monkey mask, come back here. My monkey mask.
It is winter, and it is not quite our normal winter yet.
Mama, can I show everybody my monkey
No,
mask?
we're not showing the monkey mask again. It's not quite winter yet. I mean, it's winter, it's cold, it's rainy. But last year our winter didn't really hit till February here in Texas. And that's when we got like a bajillion inches of snow, which we never ever get ever. And it was bad. It was a bad winter last year. And I'm hoping we don't repeat it, but right now it's looking like it's going to be very similar. Welcome, Cheryl. Welcome, guests. Come on into the room if you want to chat with us. Tonight, I asked several people over the past couple of months, what kind of shows they'd like to see. And several people had wanted to see crocheting. And I myself enjoy crocheting very much. And so I decided that tonight we would do just some basic how to crochet, and then maybe make a little flower or something and have a lot of fun. Crocheting is a perfect winter occupation, especially if you're going to do a blanket. If you're going to do a blanket or something like that, crocheting is perfect for the winter because you start getting under the covers. Hey Vicki, welcome. And I like to crochet when I can do it where it's going to be cold, because even when I'm doing a scarf or something like that, just working with yarn, I get warm, and so that's perfect for now. So, does anybody in the room already crochet besides Fab? I started crocheting when I was Sam's age. That is one of the more pleasurable memories I have of my grandmother. And she gave me a crochet hook. It was a size G. I have it put away. I didn't bring it out for tonight's show. And she gave me some of the most god-awful blue, green, yellow, ochre yarn that I ever had in my whole life. And she set me loose on the floor with a crochet hook and this ball of yarn, and I made a chain for the Christmas tree. And this was in the summer. And so I took this chain and got on a plane and went to my mom and dad's after my visit with my grandmother for a week or so. And I said, Mom, I made this for the Christmas tree. And being that my mother is the best mom in the whole world, she put it on the Christmas tree.
And she's my grandma.
And she's Sam's Grammy. And I thought it was probably later in life one of the uglier chains for a Christmas tree ever made. But it was very fun and very charming. From that moment, I always thought that was fun to make things, because my grandmother used to make all kinds of cool stuff, and she always worked from a pattern. And in fact, when she passed, I got her crochet hooks, and then I also got a lot of her old work baskets from the 60s and 70s, and found a lot of the patterns and stuff of all the stuffed animals that she made me, all of the sweaters and blankets and all that kind of fun stuff. So I learned, basically sitting with her, learned how to crochet, and really, really enjoy it. Still have many of the things that she's made me to pass on to my kids.
Right, Mama?
But I did learn how to read patterns. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that tonight. If we want to go into that more, we'll do another show. But what I found is I enjoy just, taking the basic shapes and making my own. It's a lot more fun. Once you get the idea of how to make basic shapes, it's just like drawing or sculpting or whatever. You know that you need a ball. You know that you need to start with, a circle and how to make that and how to increase and decrease. And then you just kind of sculpt your own things with yarn. The same thing with clothing or whatever. I made several items for my daughter for her Barbies with just some basic ideas of patterning that you needed circles and you needed so many lines and you could make a skirt or whatever. So, but tonight this is all about Amanda. And I see she's decided to join us now. Ugh, it's been a crazy night. It has been a crazy night, Amanda. But I got the boys away, and it's just us girls and Fab. And so we're gonna do some yarn.
Dr. Pepper.
And Sam's got Dr. Pepper, so I may be peeling her off the ceiling in a minute. So, anyway, I'm not going to talk about all the different types of yarn and all the different types of needles. We're just going to talk about some basic stitching. And you can do the stitching with all the different kinds of yarns and needles. Just when I think I've seen all the different types of yarn, there's even more on the market. So one of my favorite places to get yarn is through a company called Lion. And they have all types of wonderful yarn, all different types of sizes and all that stuff. Thank you. Actually, tonight I painted my own nails because I had trashed my manicure doing a project earlier this week. And my gloves are my compression gloves. People have heard me talk about them. I especially wear my compression gloves when I'm doing yarn work because it makes it so much easier on my hands.
So much easier. Right, Mama?
Fab, since you're from the UK, you can let people know what the difference is. So what is a chain stitch, Fab? Because that's what we're going to start with. I don't guess I've really ever looked at UK patterns. It's still called the chain stitch? Okay. I'm a right-handed crafter, and I crochet with my right hand. So when I hold my hook,
it starts with
I'm going to hold it in my right hand.
Right hand.
And I'm going to hold it, there's a flat part on this one, but all needles do not have flat parts. And so you may not necessarily have a flat part to hold on to, but I put my thumb with the needle up and I crochet like this. Okay? If you're left-handed, I understand you basically do the same thing, only with your left hand. I'm not going to teach left-handed cross-stitching or crocheting because I'm not that talented. I just am familiar kind of with how you would hold the hook. Now, this is the fun part. Your other hand is basically your tension hand. This acts like the tension does on your sewing machine. And you wrap around your pinky and then under, over, and under. And the reason this one is under is because when you turn it this way, it's over your hand so that you hold it. So did you get that? You go around the pinky. And you go under your ring finger, over your middle finger, and under your ring finger. And so here's how you hold it. You have this like you're going to crochet. You have this like this. And I've seen it start a whole number of ways. This is the easiest way I have found to start. Let me see if I can back this up so you're not looking at the edge of my thing here. Okay. The easiest way for me to start is to put my hook underneath. Hi, Mommy.
Hi. Hi, Grandma.
And I turn it, okay, so that I've got it wrapped in there. I'll do that again closer. Yes, I have a lovely echo all night tonight, Mommy. Turn it, okay, and then loop over and pull through. And that forms your first, let's see, trying to see where the easiest place to see that is, sorry. That forms your first stitch. And then you just keep pulling. Now, you keep, this is what they call yarn over. Keep doing this over and over again. And you form a chain. I need that to focus better for y'all. Maybe pink was not the color to use. Let's see. There we go. Okay, those of you working along at home, is that what you've got? Is a couple of chains?
Mommy, I'm reading a book.
I'm using Chrome tonight. That's not what you got? Let's try again. The neat thing about crochet is that, you know, you just pull it and it goes away. So, did you get the first, Amanda, where you got the first stitch through? No. Okay, let's try again. We'll go slow. Hold it in your hand. You put it under your needle. See, I'm turning it through. So I have a loop on my needle. And then I'm going to yarn over. And when I yarn over, I take the needle under, grab it, and pull it through. And it looks, let's see if I can, I'm taking the needle out of it so you can see it. That's one little stitch. There is no knot. It's,
No knot.
let me do it with my hand. Basically, you get this, okay? This is, and your needle is in here, okay? And then when you yarn over, you pull this piece of yarn through, and it looks like that, only smaller. And so the next one, when you pull it through with your hook, it'll go like that. And so then you'll keep pulling it through with your hook. Okay. And that's a very loose chain. But, so did that help? Or has everybody got their crochet hooks and they've got chains? So, when you've done, let's do 5. There's 3, 4, 5. When you've done 5, it should look like that.
Short snowflakes.
Not right now.
Really,
You ran out of thread. I like the little V shapes too.
There's our friend, Mama.
You did it on the wrong side? How do you do it on the wrong side, Amanda? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering, Mom.
I turned off.
Oh, on this thread here.
I'm trying to turn off the fan.
Okay. Honey, do it on the long side. If you do it on this side, you do run out.
I can't understand.
Okay. In crochet, the base of everything you do for the last 38 years, the base of everything you do is this little stitch. I have not found a crochet that doesn't start with that first loop and doing some kind of chain work or putting stitches in it. But that first little chain loop that you make is how it always starts. Welcome back, Dawn. Okay? So, now, one of the questions that was asked is, okay, I can make the chain, then what? Well, I'm going to make a couple more chains so I can have room to show you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to do 12. So you have a chain. You have about 12.
Practice doing it. Mama, can I practice doing it, please?
Can you find some other yarn? And you can do it. Here you go. Here's this. Go get another piece of yarn.
Well, we haven't run out of yarn, right, Mama?
So is everybody ready for the next step? I'm going to show you, I'm going to start with the single crochet. There's one stitch called the slip stitch, or this, and it does not require you to do anything other than stay. If you did a single crochet, it would just come back all the way, and you would hardly notice other than this chain would be fatter. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do the single crochet. So we've been going this direction. Now we're going to hold our yarn right here. The first loop that is on your hook, okay, we do not count that loop. The next loop is the loop that loop comes out of, okay? If we were to go back into it and loop, it would make a funny knot. So we're not going to do that. So let's not do that, okay? We're going to the second loop, or the second hole from this chain. So here's, don't count the loop on your hook, remember? So the first one is this one. The second one is this one. Let me go back up here. Okay, here's the loop on our hook. We're not counting that one. This is 1. This is 2. Yes, under the V. And what we're going to do is we're going to stick our hook into that V. So see, you have, this is the one on the hook. Here's 1, here's 2. And my hook is in 2. And I'm going to yarn over and pull that through there. So now I have 2 loops on my hook. And I'm going to pull, yarn over and pull through. That makes a single crochet. Yes, you can use that yarn. So to do it again, we'll go into the next loop and yarn over. You have 2 loops. and you pull it through.
Mama, I need one.
Okay, just a minute, Sam. And so go into the next hole, yarn over, pull it through. And that's called a single crochet. Come here, give me your hook. There you go. Okay. So, Fab, what do they call the single crochet in the UK? What happened was we were waiting for you to get back from your ad. They call the single crochet double crochet, where you're just pulling it through.
I don't know how to do it.
Weird.
I don't know how to do it, Mama.
Okay. Amanda, you getting the single crochet? So you just pull it, push your hook through the hole, yarn over. Yay! Kara found a needle. And yarn over and pull through both.
Mama, I don't know how to undo it.
Vicky, is your mom from the UK?
Mama, I need help undoing it.
In a minute, sweet pea. Weird. Because the next stitch I'm going to show you is the double crochet. I wonder what she called the single crochet. She was a British spy.
Mama, on paper.
Right, but you only do it. You only do the pull through once, and so that's why it's called the single.
On paper. Paper.
Because the next stitch is the double crochet, and you do 2 pull throughs. And for a triple crochet, you do it 3 times. Okay, so now I'm on to the last hole right here. And I'm going to stick that in here. Right. You pull through, you put your hook through the stitch, and you pull through once. So you have 2 loops on your needle, and then you pull through the 2 loops. Now, Fab is right. You take and you chain 1 and turn. Now, if we were coming back across, and this is, let me show you this. Here, I'm gonna make my loop big so I can show you. This is the front side. There are 2 sides. Now there are definitely 2 sides to crochet. This is the front side. You can see the little tops of your stitches are up here. The other thing that makes this a single crochet is you can see that it has 1 slash stitch that goes through it. See the little slash? Okay. Now the back of the crochet looks like this. It's very, very odd looking. These up here are the tops of your stitches. Sometimes a pattern will ask you to go in the back loop of a stitch. Let's see if I can, let's see. And to go in the back loop, you take this top right here. This is the back loop. So that when you're over here, this one right here is that top stitch, is the back loop. So when you take the back loop, you're left with this line right here of this forward loop. If it tells you to take the front loop of a stitch, then you take this first part here. Okay? Not the back one. This is the back one. But this one back here is the back one. This one right here is the front one. So if it tells you to take this front loop and not the back one, it's building a special kind of ribbing that you're going to use later in your pattern. Most of the time, it tells you to go through both loops. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight, is how to go through both loops. Okay? Depending on the kind of pattern you're doing and the kind of visual stitching they want to see, you'll either do the back loop, the front loop, or both loops. Yes, it's very loopy talking. Now, when you turn it and you do your 1 crochet, if you were going forward, is this the needle I was using? I was using a bigger needle. When you go forward, one stitch would represent that you were going to do single crochet. Let's go ahead and do the single crochet going back. Now, here's where we start. That single crochet represents a stitch. Okay? And then you go under, pull through, go under. And this is where I got the hardest for the longest time, is I would be going along and I'd get to the end of a row, I'd go to start a row, and I couldn't figure out where to put my first stitch, and my project would start growing, which is never any fun when your project starts growing. And it was not growing in a good way. You're so confused. What are we confused about, Amanda? I'm just putting my single crochets back through. I'm going through both stitches. See, look, I'm putting my needle through both stitches. So when I put it through, move that string out of the way. It's through both stitches. We're still doing a single crochet, sweetie. You pull through, so you have 2 loops on there. And then you go through both. Okay? So then I go through the next hole. I pull through, while yarn over. I've got 2 loops. And I yarn over and pull through. Did you get a roll of single crochet on your chain, Amanda? Okay. We're doing it the same exact way. You put your needle through the hole of the stitch, yarn over, pull through so that you have 2 loops on your needle, then yarn over and pull through both. Black is not your friend. Okay, and this is the last stitch on this row. And I did not get both stitches. Hang on. Now, so now we have 2 rows of double crochet. And then here's the front of the 2 rows of double crochet. Now, a while ago, Fab was talking about the not getting your stitches too tight. I am a very tight crocheter. Most patterns will have on there a gauge, and it'll say in so many inches using such and such stitches it should be this big. Or if you use a size G hook and you crochet 15 inches, 2 rows of double crochet, it should be this many inches. And everybody's crochet style is different, and mine is tighter. And so most of the time when it's calling for an F hook, I go with a higher hook because my crochet style is tighter. And holding your yarn, your hand, I told you earlier, your hand gauges your tension. And so sometimes if I'm crocheting, I will unloop that bottom loop so that it falls like this, so that I'm not so tight. So does that make sense? And so what you want to do is just get the type of yarn, because also different types of yarn I crochet differently. I know it's odd. If I use 100% cotton yarn to start crocheting, I get really tight. And so I have to get a bigger hook and, do those tricks. Take it off of my pinky and loosen my tension on it so that my stitches are looser. Any questions on that? What I do is for this kind of, all we're doing is just kind of farting around here, but now that we've come all the way this way, we're going to do a chain, flip it over, and start going back this way. That's if we were doing another row of single. If we're going to do a row of double, we get to the end here, make 2 chains, flip it, and go back the other way. Right, exactly. Because this chain, like over here, this chain that we did here represented a stitch for us. And it's always nice to know that you did X number of stitches across so that when you come back, you have that same number and you remember to count your chain. Because like I told you, when I was first learning how to do things, I was making blankets for my dolls and stuff. If I wasn't paying attention, my thing would go like this instead of stay straight. Because I was adding in on either end an extra chain or an extra stitch where the chain was. I found in my grandmother's stuff her stitch counter, which my kids immediately thought was something like a Ouija, some kind of little pegboard thing, and yeah, I lost my stitch counter. I need to find it and get it away from them. It's mine. A plastic holder. I'm not aware of that, Fab. Oh, a visual pattern. Yeah. Maybe get right on that, Fab. Right, you could invent it, Fab. You could invent a visual plastic holder pattern thing. No time for plastic visual holders? Okay, so we're at the end of this row. Let's do some double crochet now. And we're going to do 2 chain, and turn. And for double crochet, you're going to do a loop over, a yarn over, then you're going to go through the hole and bring a loop up. So now you have 3 on the chain, or on your needle. Shall I do that again? Are y'all ready? Yarn over, so now you've got 2 loops, right? You go through the hole, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And now you yarn over and pull through 2. And you yarn over and you pull through 2 more. And now you have a double crochet. And if you look at it up close, let's see if it'll focus for us. You can see it has 1, 2 slashes in it. Hi, Pam. So let's do that again. You ready? Yarn over, pull through the, or poke through the hole, yarn over. We've got 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through twice. Yarn over, pull through 2 more. Yarn over, poke through the hole, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through twice. Yarn over, pull through 2 more. How are y'all doing? Yours look knotted. Do we have to have a private session, Amanda? So yarn over, poke through the hole, yarn over, you have 3 loops. Amanda or Mommy, can you make it where we can have URLs? Then yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. I wouldn't even think about doing a half, Jen. You're right. A half double, yeah. Okay. This is called the double. If you were doing the half double, you would go through all of them instead of yarning over twice. Okay. Does everybody understand the double crochet? If you got it, Karen, I'm glad. Okay, so here we are coming across the end again. Okay, I've got this stitch to make. And this is the last stitch in this row. Now we're going to go back, and when we go back, I'm going to do the half double crochet because it's just easier. Well, not easier, but it's just a nicer change. So, and it's a little chubby stitch. I use that sometimes when I want kind of a denser stitch. I've still done 2 chain. I'm turning. Okay, Kara, are you following? And we're going to set the stitch up like we did for our double crochet only we're going to loop yarn over and go through all 3 loops. And it's shorter. See, it's a shorter stitch and it's all chubby. It feels like a little chunky stitch. And then go through all 3. And that's the half double crochet. So you have 3 loops. I know, I love that little stitch. It's cute. See, it's just shorter compared to the double crochet. Because the double crochet is from here to here. And this one's just little. It's like a cross between the single and the double. It's a denser stitch, so I can imagine, Fab, that you were probably using that because that's great for something you're going to stuff if you're making little stuffed animals. It's taller than the single stitch and denser, and it's not as skinny as a double crochet. And it's a nice little chunky stitch for making things that you're going to stuff with filling later. I'm kind of going across this fast because I want to get to the next part where I show you some other stuff. Now, you could sit and do this all day, various lengths of stitches, and make you some cute little scarves. You could make them go sideways like this, or you could make a long chain and then come back and go up and down a couple of times and make some really cute little scarves like that. Let's see. This pink has a fun glare, doesn't it? There it goes. So if you can see, this top right here is the little chunky half double. There's the double. It's long. And then down here are 2 rows of single. I guess you could make a slave bracelet, Pam. My dad learned to crochet a little bit when he was a kid. He had, oh, shoot. What was it that he had? He had, not scarlet fever, malaria or something like that when he was a kid. And one summer, and he and his friends learned how to crochet. Maybe, I don't know. If Mom was in the room, she could remind, or even Aunt Joy probably knows. She's probably heard that story 500 times. Okay, to stop your crochet, you find out where your daughter went with the scissors. Here they are. Cut your yarn. See, I still have it looped on here. Okay. Cut your yarn and pull this through. It's that simple. And it's done. So there are essentially no knots in this. Oh, you're welcome, Fab. Now we're going to make a little flower. So let me... Now, if you're crocheting along and you have to add yarn, what you would do is you would... here, I'm going to pull this out. If you had to add yarn, you know, you ran out. Oops, I ran out. Oh no, now what? Okay. Whoops, I pulled that out wrong. Hang on. Hehe. Ah! Have you ever pulled something out and then couldn't figure out how to get it out? Night, Fab. Okay. Hang on, let's go along. Let me fix where I pulled out. Okay. I'm crocheting along. I know I'm going to run out of yarn. Alas, what do I do? Hi, Mommy. I'm showing them how to add yarn without making a knot, and then I'm going to go into making a flower. Okay. The next step I would do to start my next row, right, is to make a chain. So what I'm going to do is take this one that's separate, I'm going to add to it, and I'm going to pull through the new yarn to make my chain. And then I'm going to crochet up. I'm going to turn all the yarns in because I'm going to crochet over these. Okay, so let's do like some little double crochets over them, and I'm going to crochet over like this. And I'm tucking the new yarn and the old yarn ends into the bottom of the stitch. So do you see that? So these are the yarn ends, the new and the old. And again, never made a knot. Aw, Amanda. We won't tell her. It's not like she was going to crochet tomorrow, is it? Okay, now I've come to the end again. This time I'll really stop. Okay, here we go. I'll pull this off. Can we make the flower separate? Alright, so there you go. See, I added one, and the only place you really see the yarn sticking out is like a little tuft right there. And I'm going to trim that. But unless you knew you added a new yarn or changed the color, and that's exactly how you would change the color, is, you know, you would just pull it through to the next and carry on. So, does that make sense? Good, Kara, I'm glad. Alright, cut off your yarn. Kara, we're going to make, yes, a dollhouse rug. We're going to make a flower. So, are y'all ready? Mommy, are you ready? Yay, a flower. Yes, a flower for you. Okay, let me pull up my pattern because I went to pull up my pattern and my husband has used most of my ink. And so when I went to print it out, I got the flower pictures, but no pattern. Let me see. I'll find the flower pictures. Well, no, we'll just surprise you. We're going to go for it, all right? So what we're going to do, I'm going to move this out of our way. This pattern, and I will post a link to this pattern for you here. Let's see. They used a different kind of yarn, but we're going to go with the idea of We can use whatever we want. Your husband must request permission to print. You know what? I don't mind my husband printing. I just took advantage of a really good sale, and so him having printed all of my black ink out is okay. We'll be just fine. I have another ink cartridge to stick in its place, so he's forgiven, and he's allowed to print. We have 2 printers. Surely he can use one of them, right? Okay. So the link I sent you, she uses a smaller kind of yarn, and so she also uses a very small hook. I'm using a size H, so you can see this better. And it says also, if you're just learning how to crochet, start with a bigger hook. Now, what we're going to do is start like we did before. We're going to make our first stitch. And they call that the slip stitch. It's the beginning of the chain. Okay. And then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, once we've chained 4, we're going to do a slip stitch to form the chain. And what that means is we're going to go back in to that first stitch, and we're going to yarn over and pull through both stitches. So we formed a ring. Okay? So at this point you should have a cute little ring. Let's focus. There we go. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is do 3 chains. And in this pattern, 3 chains count as a double crochet. And that is our first crochet. And then we're going to put 15 double crochets into this ring. So are you ready? Here we go. 1. Count with me, because I'll forget. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. okay, and then slip stitch. So we've got all 15 of those made, and we're going to slip stitch in this top stitch, and slip stitch just pulls it through. Okay, at this point I'm going to take this tag of a piece right here and pull. How big is this flower going to be? Well, Mommy, if I use the actual fabric that she used and the smaller needle, it would be smaller, but in the effort of being able to show it to people, I went ahead and used regular yarn. Pam, there were 15 double crochets in there. I made a loop, a ring with a slip stitch and 4 double crochets, joined it together. Then I did 3 chains and put 15 double crochets in there and joined it together with a slip stitch. Okay. So has everybody got your ring? Now we're going to make petals around our ring. So what we do is we chain 1, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, yours looks like a seashell. Did you join it together? Join it together and then pull this thread in the middle so that it all pulls. Close your ring back up. Did that help, Care? Okay, good. Alright, now that you've got it single crocheted, or slip stitch together, chain 1, and I've chained 1, and we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. So here's the first stitch, and we're going to go in, and I'm going through both loops for this. So make a single crochet, and then we're going to do 6 double crochet in the next stitch, and that means all of them go in the next stitch. Okay, so you ready? Yarn over, go through the hole. So we got 3 loops, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's 1. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's 2. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's 3. We're halfway there. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's 4. That's 5. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My yarn is trying to run away. And yarn over, pull through. There's 6. We've got 6. Now it says skip the next stitch. So if you're looking at this, okay, this stitch is the next stitch. So we're going to skip it, and we're going to single crochet in this stitch. Alright, so skip a stitch, single crochet right there. Alrighty. And now we do 6 double crochet again. So, and we do it in this very next stitch right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then just like before, we skip a stitch, so we're skipping this stitch, and we single crochet in the next stitch. So now we have 2 petals. And honestly, that kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. That is not the cutest thing on the planet. Doesn't it? Hi, Candy Cello. I do not know you, but I am glad you joined us. That's what I'm saying. Care, you're doing it. I'm so happy for you. Okay, so let's do it again. 6 in a hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, skip a stitch, which is this one. Single crochet in this one. You should have 3 now. I'm glad you could join us, Candy. We do this every second and fourth Friday of the month, do different crafts. This month, or this time, we're choosing to do some crochet. Sometimes we do paper crafts, sometimes we do card making, sometimes we do jewelry stuff, whatever moves me. So, alright, 6 in a hole. Carrie, you got 3 petals yet? Oops. Good. 3, 4, 5, 6. When you connect to the first one, how do you tell which is the first? After I've gone around once? Oh, how do you tell which is the top of the first stitch? Those 3 chain, that third chain is the top stitch, and that's where you connect. Bye, Pam. Did that make sense, Candy? Okay. So we've done, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a hole. Skip 1 and single crochet right there. So, Cara, you got your 4 petals? We're going in for the last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip one. Okay, make sure before I do it. Repeat 3 more times. Run the yarn tail through a few stitches on the back side. Okay. Join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. Okay, here we go. So we're coming back in and we get to the first single crochet, which is right here, and it says join with a slip stitch. So we just yarn over, pull through, and pull through. I didn't yarn over a second time. Okay. Everybody follow? And so there he is. And he's very, very cute. I love him. I really like this flower. One of the reasons I picked this flower. Now, to finish it, I'm going to pull. I'm pulling this on the way through. Now, what you could do is take like a darning needle. And those are a needle specially for yarn. You can get plastic ones. Amanda, I wouldn't suggest a plastic one for you. But you can get metal ones, and the metal ones have a smoothed off point. So, you know, they're not real pointy. And then take this and run it through the back of the stitches, okay? And that way you'll get rid of this. It won't be here. Now, if you get this basic flower down, and I would suggest doing it big a couple of times, but yes, this would be a great embellishment on a page, on a card, made into a pen. This is big. You know, this fits in the palm of my hand. This is not the size yarn you would normally make this with. You would normally make this with a much smaller size yarn. This is just plain old worsted weight crochet yarn, probably, let's see, I don't even have the tag on it anymore. This is a 3-ply, or no, this is actually a 4-ply, I think. Here we go. When they're talking about the plies of a yarn, that's how many things make the rope. So this is a 4-ply worsted weight yarn, like a sport yarn, okay? And see, it's 4-ply. It's got four little yarns in it. Yes, you could glimmer mist them any color. Get a smaller, and also I did this with an H size hook. If I did this with a smaller hook, it would be a smaller flower. If I did this with smaller yarn and a smaller hook, it would be a smaller flower. Things to think about. You could do the centers one color and the petals another color. You could do it all one color and then put a button on it, or a big brad or whatever. The other thing is to go around it with that slip stitch. How we slip stitch this together, you could go through each of these holes with a different color and slip stitch around the edge of the petal just to make an extra color accent. And that would be just super cute, because it would just be a stitch on top here. It's a different color all the way around. So there's lots of potential to do there. I did record this, Kier. And I also gave you a link to the pattern, but I'll put the link to the pattern in my blog. I'll put a link to this in my blog and put a link to that pattern in the blog. And then I will, what I'll do is I'll get some links to some other flowers. I just really like this flower. A five petal flower like this is probably one of my mom's favorites. And since I was doing that for her, that's why I chose this flower. Yes, I will put a link to the blog. Amanda can put a link to the blog when I start to close the show. I've got slides with links to it also. But it's leslieray.blogspot.com. And then there's a pattern. There's at least one pattern there for a hair bow that I made. One of the old-fashioned curly hair bows out of crochet. And what I'll do is I'll post the link to this pattern, and then I'll also talk about doing the variations to the pattern, and I'll make a little downloadable worksheet for that. Thank you, Amanda. So, does anybody have any crochet questions that I can answer or try to answer? Somebody was talking about the popcorn stitch earlier. Let me see if I can remember that one. Was that Pam? I bet it was Pam, and she's left. Let me see if I can remember it off the top of my head. If not, then I'll look it up. But, oh, a granny square is easy. Let's do that instead. You want to do that instead? Granny squares are easy and fun. Okay. Let's do a granny square instead. Yay, granny square. Yes, a granny square. Okay. You're going to start it similar to how you started this with the ring. Okay. And depending on the pattern you do, you can do as many or as little. I usually do my ring with 5. So the slip stitch is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the slip stitch plus 4 chain. Join it with a slip stitch to make your ring. Okay. Do you have a ring, Karen or Care? A wee little ring. Keep going. Okay. Now chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then do 2 double crochets. Oops, excuse me. Alright, so you have 3 stitches in a row here. They're all double crochets. Amanda, I would start with a G hook. The G is probably the one that you're going to find the most of. I just did 3 chain here. And just a sport weight yarn. Most patterns call for a G or an H, just like Jen said. And just get a basic sport weight yarn. That's what I'm using right now. That's the simplest because you're not having to deal with the lumpies and crochet around them or whatever. And it's a little more forgiving than 100% cotton. It's not as stiff as that. Cotton has a different texture, and sometimes it can be temperamental. Not too bad, but sometimes. But a cotton yarn is great for making like dishcloths and stuff. Okay, so now I've got 3 double crochet here. I'm going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And in the same center, I'm going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and if you're just starting out, an aluminum hook works awesome. Okay, and now we need 1 more set of 3. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 double in the center, and I'm going to try not to lose the end of my tail here. I'm going to let that kind of hang right there. This is scary. Why is this scary, Care? That you're getting it? Oh no. This is fun. And once you know some basic shapes, even if you never read a pattern, you can do cool stuff. You know, I can show you more about pattern reading. That's not a big deal. We can do that in another show. Last 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the top loop here of this this stack of 3 crochets. Now that makes the base of your square. Okay? So now I want to slip stitch 2 stitches. Here's 1. Here's 2. To get over here to this hole. Actually, I'm going to do 3. I want to do 3 because I want to get into the hole. There we go. Okay, now I'm in the hole. Alright, and see, remember I told you a slip stitch just rests on top of the stitches? Let's see if we can get this to focus in. Come on. Come on. Show me the focus. You can see where I slip stitched, it's right there on top, maybe. There. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then from there, we're going to do 2 double crochet. 1, 2, and we're going to do 3 chain. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 3 double crochet in this hole still. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do 2 double crochet, or not 2 double crochet, 2 chains. 1, 2, and now 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, 3 double crochet in the same hole. 1, 2, 3, 2 chains. 1, 2, 3 double crochet in the next hole. 1, 2, 3, 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, 3 in the next hole. I have some too. I have my grandmother's ivory hooks and her wooden hooks that I've got put away with that first hook. Alright, Dawn. Good night. I plan to be at your show tomorrow. 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double. A shorty is better than no show, Dawn. I like a shorty show. Oh, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Three. Okay, we're almost done. We're in the home stretch here. We have 1, 2, 3, and then 2, 3, and then 2 chains, and join them together. And when you're making these, you'll be sure to always finish your little guy here by bringing him over to the edge, because it just makes him look more finished and doesn't give him that chance to pucker right there. Okay? So to grow your square, you just keep going around. And so here you would start again with chain 3, 2 double crochet, 3 chain, 3 double crochet, 2 chain. In the middle hole you would have, depending on the pattern you're using, because granny squares are kind of like religion. You know, there's 400 versions of you know, Christian religions, and so this is just a basic granny square. Some will put 2 in the center, and some will put 3. I like 3. I like a fuller square, and it matches all the way around. But there are so many different ways to do a granny square. This is just the basic one. These are really pretty, changing colors as you go out. You can make them really big. You can make them really small. You can make a whole blanket out of one big giant granny square. You can take a whole bunch of them and string them together. This is a good thing to learn, is how to do a granny square. So I like the granny square. Yes, you can, Mom. You made a whole blanket with granny squares once. So any other questions? Lighted hooks, Jen? I've never heard of lighted hooks. That's crazy. Thank you, Care. Thanks, Candy. Did you see your flower, Mom? I know, isn't he cute? When he didn't have all of his petals and he just had 2, he looked like Mickey Mouse. So, anyway, I hope that kind of helped take some of the mystery out of it. You need some in brown? Okay. I will make you some in brown. Thanks so much for coming, Kara and Candy. I'm glad you found us and joined us new. Yes, Mom, I do take requests for you. Kara thought it would be nice to do these in white and mist them. So would you rather have that, or do you want just special colors? Or I could do them in white cotton, and you could use your Tim Holtz stains on them. Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. So, I mean, it's really up to you how much, how far you want to take this. I've been known to crochet with embroidery floss. I wanted a specific color for making little baby booties for a layout, and I did them out of embroidery floss and a little bitty hook, and turned out really cool. I like smishing stuff in the stains too. So once you learn just the basics, then you can move on to the more fancy fibers. The fancy fibers, this is what Sam brought me a while ago to crochet with. And yeah, This yarn has a lot of problems. One, this yarn she's been playing with, so there's lots of starts to this yarn. But this would be not what I would recommend to start with, because you would be dealing with all these little funny fibers coming off of them. This makes real pretty stuff when you're ready to deal with those little funny fibers, because they get in the way when you're, you know, when you're first starting out. When you're first starting out, start with a worsted weight yarn. Start with a good size hook. That way you have, you know, plenty of ideas. You can see the stitches better. You can count them easier, and get the hang of it. And then once you get the hang of it, then you'll just sit and make stuff because it's fun. These would make nice little trivets or coasters or whatever, you know, very easy. So, any other yarny questions tonight? Yikes. Why yikes, Karen? I do not tat, Jen, and not because I don't want to. It's just because I've never learned how. I have a friend that does tatting, and she's going to teach me how to do that one day. But I would love, if anybody wanted to do a stream on tatting, I would certainly be there and watch that. It's beautiful. I have a bunch of really gorgeous tatted pieces that Bill's grandmothers have done and my grandmother has done. But you should do us a show, Jen, and tat. I would love to watch. Now, I've tried knitting, and I do not knit at all very well. Could not knit myself out of a paper sack if I tried. I had a friend. Yeah, I like the fuzzy fiber stuff too. I had a friend who was going to teach me how to knit, but she got sicker, and her kids moved her over to Dallas. She was in her 80s, and we had discussed her showing me how to knit one day, and we didn't get that accomplished before she got moved over to Dallas. So I'll have to go see her and sit down and knit a spell. But she kept saying that she could show me and that I would know, because if I could crochet, she knew I could knit, but I'm not sure. I've not tried to make lace on bobbins, but that's something I've looked at and I know I could do, because that's very similar to other kinds of knotting and stuff. But I'm a great macrameer, or as my husband says, mancrame. My husband mancrames. My son made this one, but my husband showed him how to make these. And this is basically just a macrame knot, but my husband calls it macrame because he's a man and he can do it. So that's always fun. Yes, I love Irish crochet. I have lots of really cool old books with old stitches and stuff, and maybe one of the things I need to do for my amusement is do little YouTube videos here and there of, you know, a stitch a week or something. Maybe not a stitch a week, but a stitch every so often, you know. Yes, I love rug hooking. Ooh, a spinning wheel would be awesome. There's some ladies that I'm friends with, and they have tons and tons and tons of handmade fibers that they've done, and they even like raise alpacas and sheep and stuff, and make their own dyed wools and things with them. Oh, Jen, I'm sorry you lost work baskets. That's awful. If you're not a crocheter, a work basket is a little magazine that had tons of not just crocheting ideas, but lots of different cute little ideas. It had lots of crochet in it too, but it had great tips and things. And sometimes you could even find recipes and little housekeeping ideas in it and stuff. They're a lot of fun. I have some of my grandmother's. So yeah, they had everything. Little felt crafts. I think one of my favorite felt crafts that I did one time is I had found this little mitten in there, and you do a button stitch around the mitten, and then you put a piece of lace, and you put one of those clippies, kind of like this kind of clippy, only the ones that were flat with the two prongs that went straight out, so that you put that in there, and that was, you had two of those, one on each side, and that was your bookmark. So not like your hair barrette with one of Amanda's digis. I still love this one. It's my favorite. Yeah, vintage. All of her old vintage ones. She had some amazing, amazing patterns. I've got probably almost all of them. Some I'm going to scan and keep for things that I want, and then several I passed on to a group that does crochet here in town that I knew would take good care of them and stuff, so I passed them on to them. But so, well, if anybody has no other questions about crocheting, if you like the idea about me doing some of those like little YouTube tutorials, or do my Leslie Ray tutorial thing, I'll do that. If you think you might be interested in having that kind of information. If not, then we'll just do an advanced crochet. We'll do a crochet 102 or something with different fibers and stuff later in life. But I hope that helped those of you who are wanting to learn how to do some simple things. You can make your own embellishments, that kind of stuff. I really enjoy it. I need to get my daughter started on it. She wanted to play along, and it's hard to teach her and everybody else at the same time. And now she's asleep on the couch. So, oh, anytime, Candy. It's recorded, and you can come watch it anytime you want to. So, it'll still be here. That's what I love about Ustream. Okay. Crafty Gig is on every second and fourth Friday of the month. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with Crafty Gig. But starting new for 2012, we have Leslie Ray's Scrappy Gig. One of my resolutions to myself this year, and a challenge to myself, really more of a challenge than a resolution, is to get more scrapbooking done. I was a total slacker this last year, and worse the years before. And so I am going to start doing Leslie Ray's Scrappy Gig. It will be the third Friday of the month. This first one is going to be all about for beginners, but you'll get tips if you're a Mondo scrapper as well. But I'm going to do some tips for beginners on what to have in a scrap box. When you get as far into it as I've got so many tools and toys and gadgets and this and that. But there's just some certain basic tools that you just sit down and scrapbook with, and we're going to go over those. And then I'm going to show some fast and simple, easy ways to scrapbook with using page maps and that kind of thing, so that if you just really have no idea where to start, no idea what to do, there's templates out there. They're free, and I'll share that with you and how you can get a hold of them and do some designs with them. and that's what we'll be doing next week. And then we'll have the next crafty gig, and then we'll be at the end of January already. Where did the month go, right? Can't believe it's already halfway through the month. So, you're a Mondo scrapper, Care? Cool. I'm a Mondo scrapper too, that took a vacation from scrapbooking apparently. So, but I'm not going to be doing that anymore. I'm glad. I hope everybody comes back. I enjoyed having you in the room and chatting with you and visiting. And I will see you all next week. When I'm not doing scrapbooking or crocheting, all of my items I get from my mom's store at cutandpastememories.com. And she also does special orders. Just email her at cutandpaste@tx.rr.com. Leslie Ray's Crafty Gig is every second and fourth Friday of the month at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can follow me on my blog. Kara, there's the email or the blog address again. It's leslieray.blogspot.com. I have a fan page on Facebook. It's called Leslie Ray's Fan Page. And you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Leslie Ray on Twitter. And that is all I've got for the night, guys. Thank you for coming. I will see you next week for Leslie Ray's Scrappy Gig. Same bat channel. Same bat time.